horse and toast rack type for summertime. There was only one route which started at a level part of the town and ran along Manningham Lane to Lister Park gates, about 1 3/4 miles. This, except where two slight inclines, made it necessary to have a trace horse hooped on, generally ridden down to meet the tram by a young man or a whistling youth. These trams were difficult to start from a stop, but once moving were fairly easy to pull. I can still hear them in fancy as I think back to the old trams. They were rather slow, and a joke went round. A man called to his friend, "Aren't you going by tram?" "No," he replied, "I'm walking, I'm in a hurry." I remember steam trams quite well, first seeing them in 1889 when I was 7 years old. The steamers were rather longer than the later electric trams and were nearly all double-deckers. The single-decker trams only ran on one route, down a long incline to the town centre, round a tight loop, nearly a circle, round Sir Titus Salt's statue in front of the town hall, and were ready for the return journey. These trams were several feet longer than the others, with 8 wheels on bogies to get round the tight loop. Steam trams looked rather odd, rather like a large steel box with windows and funnel as they steamed along the track, drawing the big tram behind it. There were no visible means of propulsion. The wheels and connecting rods and the engine, which was situated low down under the boiler, were hidden by the steel sheeting which came down to 2 or 3 inches off the ground. Some years later, many of them appeared with banks of steam pipes on the roof. It always thrilled me to see one leave the town centre after stoking up with coke, getting a good head of steam, then off round a big bend and up a steep incline, sparks and steam shooting out of the funnel to the top of the rise and out onto the level road. Thank you. Here. Thank you. No, the stuff aboard it.
What you driving now?
And now we're coming to the end of the journey of the last car. Car 389 is just coming into Ardoyne depot. We started off from Queen's Road, where we had a very good reception from the men of Queen's Island, who saw all the trams, all 10 of them, off from there, and gave us a special cheer as we went away. And now, after a long pull up the hill here, we're coming almost into the depot now. One or two people have had free rides or sentimental rides, whatever you like to call them. A little while ago, an old lady in a black shawl was picked up, and I don't know whether it was a matter of convenience for her, but the driver stopped and let her have a last ride on this old tram. And now, as we come in, I've got one of the men with the longest service beside me, Warder Watkins. Well, what are your feelings as you stand on the platform here and watch the car come in or drive in on her?
Well, this is the last of the cars, and I'm very sorry that they're going off. I've had a very pleasant 42 years service. I have no regrets.
And what are you going to do now?
Enjoy myself.
That sounds as good as anything. And the driver of our last tram here is Joe Weir, who's just brought her to a stop here. You've certainly brought us up very nicely here today.
Yes.
And,
I always done the same for the pleasure of passengers.
And you've had a very good reception all the way through the Belfast streets today.
Yeah, I've had
I think you saw many friends on the way, didn't you?
I never had a bigger reception yet.
Good.
Yeah.
And what are you going to do now?
Well, I think I'll take it easy now.
I think you deserve to after 42 years.
I've had it rough, especially in the red cars when they come here first.
Oh,
they
yes.
were severe.
Yes, they were the old open deck, weren't they?
Old deck and open deck ones, and you were just numbed when you came out from it.
Yes. You had an open driving cab on those, Joe, didn't you?
Yeah, all open cars at that time I started.
But these are much more comfortable, these Chamberlain cars we're in now.
They're more comfortable than now. I wish they had been when I started.
And you thoroughly enjoyed your last ride,
I very enjoyed my last ride.
Right, well, good luck to you, John. Thank you very much for bringing me safely up to Ardoyne depot.
Thank you.
You have to you have to use your left hand control to put your power on. I used to release my handbrake gently as I put the power on so that the car didn't start off with a jolt, otherwise you shoot the passengers out of the seats. And then you gradually increase up your speed and as you let your brake off and then let it go loose, you see. On the hills, if you hadn't stopped there, you could let it coast down.
What did the men driving the trams used to think about women doing this?
Well, I'm not quite sure. They were very friendly towards us and always ready to give us a helping hand, because you see, I think they really knew that we were only doing these jobs to keep the men's jobs open for them when they came home from the war. And Lowestoft wasn't overstocked with jobs, so it was important that these men should have their jobs back.
What was the biggest muddle that you ever got in during this time of driving
Oh,
the
the
tram?
biggest muddle I ever got into was when I was left stranded down at Pakefield. I had number 22 bogey, which didn't like me and I didn't like that. And I went to turn my trolley head, and I don't remember such things as torches. We had a bicycle lamp, and we weren't allowed to flash lights upwards. And I went to, as I turned my trolley, the rope slipped out of my hands, and the trolley head landed up in the telegraph wires up above. Well, of course, the car was plunged in complete darkness, and it was all darkness down at that end, which was not built up as it is now. And I didn't know what to do. I thought, well, I couldn't get it out anyhow. So my conductress, who lived at Pakefield, she said, I'm going home. I'm not stopping here sitting in this dark, cold car, all in the dark. So she went home, and I was left sitting all by myself in this darkened car until they missed me at the depot. And then I was very, very pleased when I saw Charlie Snowland come along with a car, and he said, what on earth are you doing here, Maud? I said, well, I've got my trolley caught in the telegraph wires, in the overhead telegraph wires. Dear, 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 he says, let's see what we can do. And of course, somehow or other, he managed to get it out. I can't quite remember how. And we set sail for going home. I followed his car and up the Denmark Road and to the depot, but number 22 refused to go to bed. All she would do would put 4 wheels onto one track and 4 wheels on the other, and it was pouring with rain, and there was Charlie and I till about 1:45 at night trying to get number 22 into the depot, which eventually we did do.
What happened when you got home?
And when I got home, my mother was very cross. She said, where on earth have you been at this time of night? She said, you want to get upstairs right quick? She said, your father isn't half angry with you. And now was I wrestling with a barrow tram car.
By the way, did you marry a tram driver?
No, I met my husband through being on the trams. He was my conductress's cousin.
So you did your courting on the tram?
So I done my courting on the trams. My husband used to perhaps travel up and down with me sometimes, or otherwise he would wait at the Pakefield depot, find a time out my tram was expected. He would go and buy me a packet of chips, and then he would sit on the little curved staircases that went to the top floor, and there he would feed me as I drove along with a chip at a time, and I don't think I ever remembered enjoying chips so much in all my life.
Now, can you remember, just to end with, the cry that the Clippies used to give when they reached the end of the journey? And if so, would you just shout it for us?
Oh, all the way.
Okay.
You will never have seen such a sight as this, Mr. Moffat, have you, in all your years of experience?
It's just like the royalty getting up police escort.
Well, I think you certainly deserve the honour you're being shown tonight.
Yeah.
You've been how long? 40 years, Mr. Moffat?
Well, 39 now, just about 40.
Well, you must have seen a lot of changes in Edinburgh since those old days. Tell me, what are some of the changes you remember?
Well, changing over from the cable to the electric.
Yes.
I was right on the cable right to the last one. I run between Tollcross and Craigloughlin.
And tell me, do you remember the first trip you ever made in a cable car? What was the route?
It was the Braids.
From the Braids?
The Braids.
Where to?
I was on the Service 16. I was from Stanley Road to the Braids.
Ah, yes. What about traffic generally? There wouldn't be anything like the traffic problems, of course, then.
There was no traffic problem when I started.
I'm sure there
These
would.
two wee cab horses run about.
Yes, indeed. Well, now, what happens to you after tonight? This is a tremendous occasion this evening.
I'm going to Central Garage.
I see.
I work in the office there.
Doing an inside job all the time.
Inside job for a year. I'll retire in the beginning, a year come January, beginning of January.
Well, I'm sure you can look back on a very, very happy period of service, and little did you dream that it would finish this way. Many congratulations, and thank you indeed, Mr. Moffat.